preparing the stream. So we may or may not be live at any point here. So who knows? Done. Hey, we're live. Welcome to Worship Tutorials Live.
Yep.
We're so glad that you're here with us. I am going to share the stream link with these two gentlemen hanging out with Fuller and Bradford and myself.
You forget my name? Has it been that long?
No. You guys get that?
Yep.
So, Matt Fredericks. Hello. We are doing well. How are you doing, Matt Fredericks? Let us know, hey, who you are, where you're from. We're going to talk about leading through a pandemic, COVID-19, leading through lockdown. We're not locked down, are we, guys? I don't know.
Kind of, but I like the alliteration.
But it's, the L and the L worked, so.
Yeah, I like the alliteration. We probably should wait a few minutes because I bet you we're taking people by surprise.
Yeah, we probably are, since we haven't done this in a while. People don't expect.
Well, let's just do some small talk for right now.
Yeah.
Up to the Facebooks.
Yeah, how have you guys been? Fuller, your hair's looking long, brother.
Thanks, man. You know what's funny is typically my wife cuts my hair, but since the lockdown started, she has not cut my hair. So
which is ironic because
flip-flopped. Yeah,
why has she not cut yours? Is it just because it's been absolutely bonkers at your house?
Well, yeah, starting homeschooling, I don't know. I guess our lives were already kind of like lockdown because I started working from home. She was a stay-at-home mom. So the only thing that really changed was I can't go to the store every day, which I miss. And then our kids are being homeschooled. So we just decided to live a little bit like more out of control so that we felt like everyone else.
Yeah. Look, I can see you guys in my guitar. I don't know. I always feel like I have to hold something. So I have.
Are you that bored, Brian, that noticing that you can see us in your guitar is amazing?
Hold on. I'll put it away. I do have my Rock the Flock Blackout t-shirt on that is not available for purchase. It was limited time only, and that time is come and gone. Hey, everybody. Wells 306, Gavin, Drew, Benjamin, Diana, Matt. Thanks for joining us today. We're just to let you know, if you're just joining us, the three of us are kind of catching up. And a little bit of small talk before we get into some actual content here.
Just to let people hop in.
What's up?
Just to let people hop in and find us and all. So.
Yeah. So I'll just give you guys a little bit of background. We live in North Carolina. Fuller and I live in Chapel Hill. Bradford lives in Mebane, which is not too far away from us. And we all
it's the poor people Chapel Hill.
Mebane is cool, and it's really Brad, your video died, so
I know because I'm leaving the app to post on Instagram.
Oh, see, look at that. Look at Brad.
I'm just trying to do my job, Brian.
Yep. So we live in North Carolina. North Carolina is currently still shelter in place.
And Chapel Hill's getting even tighter this week.
Are they?
Yeah, because of some meat packing incident where it's
all
over the place.
So this thing is we're not going to talk about pandemic COVID-19 except for what it means for us as worship leaders, but
I'm sure we're all tired of it. Yeah,
it's still going strong. And anyway, and as states are going back to normal, I fear that we're going to see massive spikes in infection and illness. But anyway, some states are going back to normal, some aren't. We're not. So the three of us I've seen both of you guys, but at a distance over the past. How long has this been?
2 months. It's been 2 months.
6 weeks.
Dang.
It's been more than that because it basically started right after my son was born, and he's 8 weeks old tomorrow. So.
Oh my goodness, it's been two full months. So so the three of us haven't been really in the same room for 2 months, which is very rare. It's kind of a bummer. It's a huge bummer, but we've been trying to work remotely a lot, and so we're getting some workflow stuff down. But we thought it would be fun to go live. We're just using the Zoom app, pushing it to YouTube. That's how we're doing this thing. So hopefully it sounds good. Hey, let us know if you're hearing feedback and stuff. Yeah, how many people we got hanging out with us by now? Almost 100. Cool.
At least 98.
Well,
97. Somebody left.
It's been 84 years. Okay. Yeah, so our church is not meeting corporately. I don't think our church is going to meet corporately. Well, I say our church. Fuller is at a different church than he used to be, than Brad and I are. Fuller, what's the name of your church?
Oasis Church in Holly Springs.
Oasis Church, Holly Springs. And how large is, and I asked this question because it will probably determine like when you can meet again. How large is your average Sunday attendance?
I think we run around 350 to 400. But the interesting thing is we meet in a high school. So who knows? I mean, we may not be able to go back till school starts again in August.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
that's a good point.
I seriously am I don't know how school is going to start. It's probably going to look different.
I think it will. I think we're in for a long haul.
Yeah, because I think we'll see infection rates go way back up. I think we'll see another big spike, and then how we respond to that, who knows? But anyway, so it will affect churches that meet in schools, which is a lot of churches, Fuller's included. Somebody said, how can you guys do that with Zoom? If you have a pro Zoom account, which is the $15 a month account, you can just push your stream live to YouTube or Facebook. It's pretty cool. It works really well. We thought about like, hey, let's get some really complicated high-end streaming setup, and then we're like,
no, correction. You thought we should get some complicated.
I was like, hey, let's use Ecamm Live or something because they have like a collab.
Okay, boomer.
They have like a way you can use Zoom, although that's broken. Yeah. So anyway, so we just thought we'd go easy, and this is what everyone in the world is doing. So
this is it, man. This awesome.
Works though. Hey, we can do this every week, I think.
Yeah, seriously.
So I'll tell you guys what's up with me a little bit, and then I'm going to let Brad talk about life with the baby under the quarantine.
Oh, boy.
He's spinning in his chair. My wife works in research, and she is essential where she works. So she has been going to work this whole time, but she is taking like 2 days a week off. So that gives me 2 days a week where I can work. And so initially Friday was not one of those days because it didn't work with her schedule, but she reworked some stuff. And so now Fridays are a day that I get to work. And so hopefully we can do more of these live streams moving forward, Zoom style, or whenever we can meet in the same room again in person. Yeah. So we'll do this regularly. So I've been homeschooling. I have a 7-year-old. We posted a quick photo yesterday of the live stream. We were testing it, and this became a large topic of conversation.
No, Brian, people weren't talking about that Falcon. They were talking about this Falcon.
Look, I'll get it in the light just right so it looks good. Fuller, we're Star Warsing it up.
You watched Star Wars 9 last night, baby, Disney Plus.
My son and I built this Millennium Falcon Lego style. This was a gift that he received for his birthday, which my son had a birthday under the quarantine. It was just us family together, you know.
Stop, Brad. We're gonna get flagged.
Thank you, Bradford. That's what I've been up to. Brad, how have you been doing?
Well, my wife had our child. I didn't have the baby. My wife did. See, it's so weird to think about this. March 14th, Pi Day. We were actually kind of worried he was going to come on the. Yeah, we were actually kind of worried he was going to come on the 13th because that day happened to be Friday. And what was funny is the hospital said it was like the craziest they had been in quite a long time on Friday the 13th. So we were like, neat. I feel like I got brainwashed by those few days because we were like back and forth, asleep, awake, waiting on the child. But anyway, oh, there you go, Brian.
We're gonna moderate. We're not gonna allow ridiculous comments coming in.
Yeah, that's not what we're here for.
In the age of conspiracy theory and just people being not very smart. Proceed, Bradford.
So he was born on March 14th. Make it cool. So, you come back from that and you're like, wow, my life is forever different, or at least for the next 18 years. And then it's like, oh, by the way, you can't leave your house. And it's like, man, there are already certain things that get removed from your life when you have a child.
Yeah.
Or that your life changes. And then it's like this shelter in place stuff. And so like all at once, my life got like turned completely upside down for so many things. Like if I had a kid right now, I'd be playing lots of guitar. I'd be cranking out videos. I'd be playing video games and like living the life.
Yeah.
But like, cause I see all these people I know that are like right around my age that right now they're like, this ain't so bad. I'm just doing what I normally do. But on top of that, we have a kid. And so, I mean, honestly, all in all, he's been pretty great. He hasn't had any problems. My wife is a very methodical, research-driven person.
Yes.
So she, which I adore, because she makes, she wants to figure out everything she possibly can. She wants to figure out what's happening. And so she has, anytime we kind of cross a problem with him, whether it's just like he's fussy more than normal, or he won't sleep as well as he did or whatever, she's able to pinpoint what it could possibly be and like legitimize it to the point where we can kind of understand what's happening and know that it's normal, and just kind of, it makes it easier for us both when we're like, oh, he's 8 weeks old and this is what happens for an 8-week-old, because he's 8 weeks old tomorrow, which is crazy.
Man.
Congrats.
So we're just we're loving it. It's been fun. I will say, when you're in ministry, paternity leave sounds great, but also you're called to lead your church. And so kind of forsaking your ministry for your child, like it sounds kind of bad no matter which way you put it. Like I don't want to just stay home and not do what God's called me to do, but at the same time I want to be home with my kid. And so I didn't have to like figure that out, because this quarantine has made it I actually have the best of both worlds right now. So that's my silver lining. We're doing things a little differently at New Hope, and we can talk about that, but it's been great to be home a lot.
Cool.
It's been hard at the same time, trying to figure out how to navigate, like, you got a problem, your kid needs something, and it's like, well, if we go get it, this is the things that we kind of have to face. Or like, believe it or not, people, which is hilarious to me, baby wipes were hard to find at our local Lowe's Foods, which I'm like, do you people realize nothing about baby wipes is sanitary? It's literally just to wipe stuff clean. Like, it's not a Lysol wipe.
They're using it instead of toilet paper.
People are crazy.
That's valid, true. That's valid too. But yeah.
Yeah, man.
Anyways.
Well, congratulations, Bradford. And hey, what is the name of your son? I think everyone wanted to know.
Oh, we named him Logan.
You weren't forthcoming with that before.
That's true. We named him Logan Bradford.
Bradford. Very good. Strong. That's a strong male name right there.
I think so. My wife, we were kind of indifferent on the middle name, and we had talked about Logan Ford, kind of like take a part of my name.
Yeah, Logan Ford is cool, but Logan Bradford.
Yeah, but I was like, you know what? I don't actually really think I'd want to name my son Bradford, so let's give him like Logan Bradford and just go with it. So
nice. I like it. It's good. All right, so we've seen a few questions come in. We'll answer your questions. If they're, we'll try and answer questions as they are relevant to our discussion. Certainly, if you want to super chat, that option is available to you, Brad.
You still have that option.
Yes, you still.
I was going to go to the vending machine and get a salad. You still have that option.
You still have that option.
That is a deep reference.
I know.
That's deep.
So you guys, Bradford and Fuller, have been leading in your churches, and I have not, which has really been a weird thing for me, because I literally have not been involved.
I have some open slots for you, Brian, if you want.
I literally have not been involved
Send me some footage.
in the leading of worship in a church for 2 months now. And the reason that is because I am at New Hope Church, and I'm a volunteer, and we've talked about that a lot on the channel. I've made content about how I left my role as a full-time worship leader to focus on worship tutorials full-time. And Brad can talk about what New Hope is doing, but the worship is being done just by the staff, right? So they get together, they film, basically they create the worship service. And then and then my church is posting it. Fuller, you guys are doing a very similar thing at, what's the name of your church again?
Oasis.
Oh, I keep thinking Springs, but it's Holly Springs.
I've told you that like 9 times, Brian.
I know, he's at
I'm
Oasis.
a little, you may want to start some vitamin B.
He's at a
B12.
respite in the desert.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes. You guys have been doing a similar thing, but I've been watching church services, but I have not been involved. So I want to talk about how to lead well through this time, because I think many of us, and I was talking earlier about New Hope Church, and the reason, Fuller, I asked you about Oasis, how large you guys are. Yeah. I think for many churches, as state governments start to allow churches to meet, for a church like New Hope Church, where it's 1,000, 2,000 people in the room, typically at the same time, I don't think that we're going to be able to meet in our room for even a long time after we start to reopen, just because there are so many people, and it does pose a health threat. And so we're not going to get into like, I've already seen comments, and we deleted some comments. At least I deleted a comment about like, we're not, I don't feel like that we're being persecuted against. Yeah. I think us saying that is offensive to Christians who are actually being persecuted in the world. Yeah. We are being allowed to worship and lead and proclaim the gospel just as freely as we ever have here in our country. We're not going to get into that. But I do think that it's going to be a while before some of our churches are able to open again and do services like usual, right? Like we had been, just because of the size of them. Smaller churches, I think, which is a lot of churches in America, in the world, I think smaller churches are going to be able to do it sooner. And so that's really interesting to me. It's going to be interesting when there are some churches that can meet and some that can't. That's a topic for another day. But but I think we're going to be in this thing for a while. So let's just talk about how we do this thing well. And like I said, I haven't been doing it, so I'm going to almost interview you guys. So Fuller, at Oasis, how have you been doing online services? What's your method and workflow?
Yeah, so I'm in a really unique situation because, as most of y'all know, I left New Hope in January. And so I started brand new at Oasis in really March is when I started. So I had only been with the team a couple weeks before all this happened. So I'm in a unique situation because the team and the culture and the community are all brand new to me. So from my first most important priority was like, oh snap, I've got to figure out how to really still build community, because I had this great plan that I was going to implement that's, that we talk about in the Worship Manual Volume 1 of how to kind of onboard and create culture and stuff. And that just got thrown out the window. So, naturally, the first thing for me was I got to figure out a way to keep the entire team involved. And so we immediately switched to virtual worship videos where our entire team, I send out songs and click tracks, and then everybody from our team records themselves playing and singing on video, send it to me, and then I spend like 40 hours editing videos.
You've gotten good at editing video, have you not?
Dude, I'm the video guru now. But
here's what COVID-19 has done. All worship leaders are now pro video editors.
Seriously. Well, dude, our pastor, Bill Rose, he records and edits all his own videos, which is really cool. So, you just got to think outside the box. But for me, the most important thing, obviously, pushing out worship is important because that's what we do. We're worship leaders.
Yeah.
I think the wrong approach is just to shut down and be a victim and say, oh, well, we'll see when we get back together. So I think all of us as worship leaders have this responsibility. We've got to keep the torch lit, whatever it is, however small, however big. But one thing it's shown me is that you constantly remind me that it's not about production. It's about authenticity and it's about community. So it's been a challenge. It's been fun. It's been a lot of work, and I'm really starting to appreciate, I already appreciate filmmakers and video editors, but I'm really starting to appreciate them now. And I think the cool thing about this, when this is all over, I think that, the pastor that wakes up Friday and tells the video team, hey, I want a video tomorrow, will probably have a different perspective on what it involves.
Yeah. So that's interesting. So you, I'm going to emphasize something you said. You started at a new church in February.
In March, really? Yeah.
Yeah. So you've basically had to build relationship with your team virtually.
Yeah.
I'm sure you got to meet with them a little bit in person.
A couple weeks.
But yeah, Fuller, that's quite a task. And man, great job doing it. Because I've seen some of the stuff that Oasis has done, and it's really cool. I've seen some of the stuff that Fuller has put together, like from scratch, and it's awesome. You've done like virtual choir videos with your team, which is a cool thing. We can talk about kind of how to do that. New Hope has done that as well. But yeah, that's awesome. Greg Summers, thank you for your super chat, my friend. He just says, love all the content you're pushing out. Yeah, I can talk a little bit about that in a bit, about trying to make as much content as possible at worship tutorials. But Fuller, you guys are pre-recording your service, worship and message, putting it all together, uploading it before Sunday, and then setting it to go live as a premiere on YouTube and Facebook. Is that right?
Yeah, the first couple weeks we were actually meeting in a church house and we were doing it live. But as the governor started making stricter policies, we wanted to honor that, and we wanted to make sure that we were, doing everything we're supposed to be doing. So we then decided, you know what, it's actually probably going to be more resourceful if we just pre-record stuff, put it all together, and then YouTube premiere it. And what's cool is that we get to watch it ourselves Sunday morning and engage in the chat, which I'll tell you right now, if churches after this whole thing don't have a renewed sense of passion, shame on us, because I think this is the break and the rest that I think is a positive thing out of this, is that we get to actually enjoy Sundays like normal people, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a great point. So there was a question, and we can all jump in on this. There was a question that was pertained to exactly that. Someone, where was it? I forget who asked. I just saw it fly by. Oh, Nathaniel Yee. What do you think of live worship versus pre-recorded worship? So Fuller, you said you started doing it live, like an actual live stream on Sunday morning, and then you moved to pre-recording and then publishing. So I do think the ability for, like I said, I haven't been involved in this as much, but I think the ability for pastors and staff to interact with the congregation during the live video is really cool. Bradford, do you have any thoughts on live versus pre-recorded?
Well, so this isn't a comparison game. This is just like Fuller's church is one size versus New Hope. And kind of in the same reason Fuller said, though, like pre-recorded actually, it removes so many variables. And it's allowing, like, even when you have a church, like we got a guy, like some of the guys we have on staff are like brilliant minds. They're really good at what they do, really talented, whether it's we're talking about internet stuff or live streaming or mixing audio or video and all that. But we did it once, and we did it the first week. What is it? That was like, I guess March 15th was the week. So basically, and we may do it again. We may go back to that here soon, doing it live, just because we're all kind of tired of like what it requires. But part of the reason why we're doing it is it removes so many variables. Like the video's done. You don't have to worry about cameras going bad. You don't have to worry about audio messing up. So if anything happens, it means that it's on like the internet or like the streaming platform you're using. And so honestly, we don't really talk about it. Like we really don't tell everybody at the church that we pre-recorded it, but we also don't try to play it off as live. Like we're streaming it live because it needs, like we're premiering it live and so people can interact and all. But you know, I don't think most of our people in our church know what's happening exactly, or do they care? I don't think they care.
It's not live, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Or even if they did know it was pre-recorded, I don't think they're going to care, because I think people realize that there's a lot that goes into it. So
right.
I honestly don't have strong feelings one way or the other. Like if we wanted to go back and do it live, which we've talked about doing here in a couple of weeks, to kind of, because it takes a lot to record. We record, you know, handful of takes, and like it's kind of exhausting. And the way we're doing it, at least, we could probably simplify it, but you know, I don't know. So it's been fun. I mean, it's been different. It requires a lot more focus, because like you show up and like we rehearse a little bit, but like we also try to, like we run the song at least once, maybe twice if we need to, before we actually like roll everything. But it's hard because like when I play live, which I try to, like when we're recording, I like, you know, I try to play as though I'm engaged, as though I'm live, because I can't just sit there and focus on playing. I got to still be, you know, I still got to have stage presence while I'm recording.
Exactly.
I can't just be a zombie. But I know for me, when I get playing, I like death grip my guitar, and it means my intonation gets a little off. And there was one week where we couldn't use my guitars because we actually, when we recorded Easter, no less, I was so excited. Because I mean, that's just me. Like when I play and like it was rocking, I was using my baritone. We did Ain't No Grave, and I used my baritone, and it was awesome. But I just was, but like, they just had to pull the guitars way down, because so that makes it harder, because we didn't have time. The way we were doing it was like, we didn't have time to retract guitars and fix it. And so, you know, you do a live stream, you kind of, those kind of mistakes or those kind of issues, you kind of just let go, and like, whatever, you can't fix it. But so I have to, when I'm playing live, I have to practice a completely different way. And I'm sorry, when we're recording, I have to practice a completely different way, because it's not like studio recording where I can sit there and focus on what I'm playing and just, that was a little bad, let's redo it. We're recording video, and so like my stage presence has to look good, and I have to play the exact same thing every time. That way, if they comp it or want to make it better, which is, you know, what we're doing, we're trying to do the absolute best we can, that they have a take they can go back to. So
very good. Hey, I got a few more super chats.
I see.
Hunty Boy asks a question that has been being discussed in the comments a little bit. What tools are you using to record and edit audio and video? And then I do have a few more questions for you guys about how you're pre-recording things. And then Leslie Singh says, miss you guys with all the downtime. Any chance of getting that acoustic to electric guitar course? So let's talk about what tools you're using. Fuller, you answered this in a chat. What are you using to create content and edit content?
Sure. So our setup is pretty simple. I have our team record so I make a click that they follow so that everyone's in time. That's the first thing. Everyone's in the same key and the same time. And then they use earphones. So I get most of them are using iPhones. The 10 and 11 have great videos. So they're sending me a video from start to finish, continuous, of them singing or playing their instrument. About half the people on our team, I've transitioned over to either GarageBand or Pro Tools first, so they can record their audio into a mic or into a direct amp signal, so that I have a higher quality audio. Because the audio iPhone is really hard, especially for vocals, to get it sounding decent. And so then they send me the videos. I basically create a session in Logic, and I'll import all of their audio, line it all up, and then edit and edit and edit until it sounds the way I think it should sound, that both represents the performance, but then also represents the excellence and the quality that we're shooting for. And then I will export that master into Adobe Premiere, which a lot of you guys use. And then I will line up the videos and then edit
for hours and hours.
So in other words, Fuller, there's no shortcut, which I think a lot of people think there's some magic shortcut to this.
No.
So I see these questions.
Yeah, there's no shortcut, but I will say this, it's not rocket science. I mean, I learned Adobe Premiere in like 3 days. You just have to really want to do it. It is a lot of work though. It's a lot of work, which is why we went to 2 songs. From day one, I told our pastor and our executive pastor, we talked about it. I said, hey, what do you guys think about just doing 2 songs? That way I couldn't do 3. It would take me a week to do 3 songs.
Yeah. So that's a good point. That's a question that was asked. But Fuller, here's another thing about there's no shortcut. Here, I've seen over and over and over, like in Facebook groups, worship leader groups and stuff, people saying, how do you make the worship sound good? Okay, here's how you make it sound good. You can't, I was going to say you can't polish a turd. Mythbusters showed that you can polish a turd, but what you end up with, here I'm handing you a polished turd.
I love Mythbusters.
The way you make it sound good is to execute well. You have to you can't take vocals that are not even close to in pitch and make them sound good. You can't take guitar that has bad tone and magically make it good tone, or that's not played well and magically make it played well. Now you can do things that you can do audio production stuff that can make it sound better. And Fuller's in a unique position that he's like a pro audio engineer. That doesn't hurt you.
Saves me time. That's probably the biggest.
But yeah, right. Like making something sound super professional takes a long time. Yeah. We don't have that luxury right now. So you got to work. So it's like your musicians and their ability and how you lead them to practice and execute at a high level is important. And and even more so in a video than in live, it will come through.
Yeah.
Video, I mean, like recording stuff in a video is like nothing gets hidden. In a live environment, in a room, it can a little more.
Yeah.
Well, and the cool thing too is because of the pre-recording, if there's a guitar part that's just not salvageable, I can just go retrack it.
Yeah, you can do it yourself.
It's not the end of the world, because at the end of the day, the goal is to create the best worship experience. I will say this, a great byproduct of this is since I'm new to this team, I didn't really know anyone. I didn't know their ability. I didn't know now I have really been able to hear every single person, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, the vocalist. And so now when we get back to normal, whatever that is, I know exactly what I need to do to develop each person. So it's been like a blessing in disguise.
So Fuller, I have one more question to you, and then I'm going to throw it to Bradford, because I think there's a difference in what you guys are doing. Fuller, you are using your volunteers, who are vocalists, musicians, and you are sending them a click track of a song, of the 2 songs you're going to do. They are recording their parts in their homes with video, with a phone, right?
Yep.
And then you're piecing that all together.
Correct.
And that's what you're uploading as your video. So I think that's what lots of people are doing, because most churches have one person, whether it's a staff person or volunteer, who's in charge of worship leading, right?
Yes.
And then you're empowering your volunteers to do that. And so they're recording it on their end using whatever they have, right?
That's it.
And then the way this is different than what New Hope's doing with Brad is you guys are all getting in a room together, because we can still meet in groups of how many or less?
It depends on the city. Durham's like 5, but my campus is in Hillsborough, which is Orange County, and you can do 10. So
you guys are staying you're doing what you can to stay within the guidelines, but at New Hope, New Hope is a multi-site church, and each campus, of which there are how many physical campuses now? 7, 8,
5. Well, 5? It depends on if you count Kenya, there's 6.
Kenya, there's 7, but like 5 that are local to us, right? So each of those campuses has a staff worship leader. So New Hope has the worship is being done, and this is why I'm not a part of it anymore. New Hope, the worship is being done just by the staff, and you as staff are getting in the same room and actually playing the song together in the same room, and
Yes.
that's being recorded. But now let me ask you a question: are you doing comps? Meaning, are you doing a whole bunch of takes and putting it all together as the best takes? Because what I understand, what it looks like when I watch it is you're just playing the songs all the way through and laying it down, and that's what gets recorded, right?
We are so I'll just kind of tell you our process and because there's got actually a couple questions there. We have kind of, because of the staff team, we obviously want to, because there's a lot of layers here. Our staff team obviously is paid by the church, which is funded by members tithing. Right. So we are trying to be the best stewards of that money that we can be during this time. And so the plus to being a larger church is that you have more staff worship leaders. And so we are trying not to subject, our world changers, our volunteers, our teams, to having to come in to do these things. We've done a virtual choir thing once. We've got another one coming up. And like, I thought it was a little cheesy at first, but then I realized it's not necessarily about the element as much as it is the involvement. I kind of jump on that. I was like, everybody's doing it. Why do you want to do it? But the point here is that it shows a connection with, it allows us to involve our volunteers. It allows us to, especially like you got somebody at one campus who knows somebody from another campus, and like they see them singing the video and it means something and stuff. So it's been fun. So the staff were, I think a lot of worship leaders who have been, playing music or leading worship for a long time, kind of, not everybody, I pretty much stick to guitar, but a lot of people end up picking up a second instrument to some extent. And so we got some very talented guys on staff and girls on staff. Our band, as one of our guys is playing drums for us, one of our other guys can play drums or acoustic or keys really well. And, we got a guy who's like a music director at the main campus, who he's kind of in charge of like the student worship, the young adult worship, and he kind of MDs on Sundays from time to time. So he plays bass. And so we get into a room, we rehearse 1 or 2 times. They'll record some audio and maybe some pickup shots, like tight shots. And if it, and kind of get an idea of how everything's going to feel. And then we do 2 full passes that are like the takes. And so we'll have backup footage on other things if we need it. But the goal is, the first take is they get, audio and more generic shots. And then the second take, they get more focus shots. And that's like the audio we tend to take too. And it's worked. We've been switching some things around. Just to kind of, because it also is tiring as the vocalist to like know that you just sang the song 3 times, and the 4th time you're singing it is the one that they're going to take the audio from. And like, when you're singing that much, it doesn't matter who you are. Like if you're singing the same song over and over again, it kind of can wear on you. So so it's been fun.
But that's not unlike a Sunday morning when you do a run through, and then you're on the second or third service, you've done that song. It's different in the fact that live there are people in the room and you're feeding off that energy. That's very different.
Yeah, there's something to be said about like the adrenaline that like you get from leading a group of people, and the energy, because when you're focused on the camera and you're focused on doing your best but also engaging, and it's just it's not natural to engage with the camera. Especially when the goal is to do your try to get as studio quality playing as you can, and that's not to take the heart out of it, but it's just like we should all be trying our best to focus on both things. Like, how do we lead well in this moment, but also how do we play well? Like, don't just be like, it's okay, it's church. Like, they just want to see us like lead well. But at the same time, like, don't be so focused on your task. And that's, can I say it? That's why we suggest no music stands, because in this moment,
Bradford,
in this moment, if I'm sitting there staring at a music stand while I'm trying to record video and I don't know my guitar parts, like, that's even more isolating. I use this analogy all the time. When I did drama in school, I was in I was in The Sound of Music. I was in Camelot. I was in, we did Godspell. And I got to be Jesus in Godspell. That was pretty cool.
Wow.
What was so cool about that was basically all of my lines as Jesus were out of the book of Matthew. And there was a time where like I had most of the book of Matthew memorized. It was probably the coolest experience. I did Fuller. But anyways,
I am offended.
Hey, you should have gave a trigger warning first before you did that. But we talked about in drama that like if you feel like if you're trying to emphasize an emotion on stage, if you feel kind of goofy and stupid doing it, you're probably doing a good job.
You should be out of your comfort zone, right?
That's and like you get used to it when you do drama all the time. But the reason is it's like your emotions, your facial expressions aren't going to really translate well even to the first row, depending on where you're at. And like as it goes further back, they're not going to be able to see what's happening. So being over emotive while you're doing drama. And so I take that kind of reshape it as I'm leading worship. Like my emotions I have to lead worship in the sense that like, I want people to know without a shadow of a doubt that like, I am loving it. And I have to work on that because like one of our social media guy, I was giving him a hard time. I was like, what the heck, bro? You posted a picture of everybody but me. He's like, dude, I couldn't get a picture of you smiling. And I was like, what? And that got me. I was like, man, I was so focused on recording and playing well that I forgot to engage well. And so it's a line that you're trying to flirt with because you want to make like the people who are mixing audio, you want to make it easy on them. Like you want to give them something good. You want to help them too, and do your best to play well and do your best to engage well. So there's a lot going on. And so I kind of can't wait for Sundays because I feel like the pressure is going to be off a little bit because it's a little different.
Yeah. So I have another topic I want to go into that, Brad, you've kind of gone into a little bit, but Fuller with the low-key Stoke product placement.
What? How'd that get back there?
Let me ask you something, Fuller. Stoke, not a sponsor, but we love it. Stoke, if you're seeing this, of course they're not, but if you are, send us coffee. One, because Fuller, I assume you and I are going to the same grocery store. Fuller and I.
Yes. They were empty, and I freaked out.
I haven't seen Stoke in a month. So Stoke is like toilet paper, man. You can't find it.
And it's our fault, I think.
So here's the thing. Fuller and I used to be neighbors, right? Like we live 4 houses away from one another. I say used to because I moved, but I didn't move more than a mile. So we're still kind of neighbors. We live in the same neighborhood.
Yeah.
But there's a Harris Teeter that's like a mile from our house. And so Harris Teeter, if you don't live on the east side of the United States, Harris Teeter is just a really big grocery store chain, like a Kroger or something like that. And I have gone to, and then we also have Lowe's Foods over here. Do you ever go to Lowe's, Fuller?
I'm not really.
So there's 3 places for us to buy groceries right where Fuller and I live. There's Harris
and Walmart has Stoke.
There's Lowe's Foods. There's Walmart. I've been to all 3. Like I've gotten groceries at all 3 places, and I have not seen Stoke in a long time. But I have found a worthy alternative, Fuller.
I've tried them all.
I have. It's Dunkin' Donuts iced coffee.
Okay, Dunkin'. I like Dunkin'. Yeah,
it's really good.
Yeah, Dunkin's good.
And it kind of has the same thing Stoke does. It has like this. If you're like me and you put equal parts half and half in with your coffee,
I go black. Yeah.
It kind of tastes like chocolate milk a little bit. It's got this really smooth, creamy, almost a hint of chocolate in it.
So it's what you're drinking is a dessert beverage, Brian. It's not coffee.
Well, I say like chocolate milk. It would be like, if what's the brand of carbonated water beverage that is so
LaCroix.
Oh, it's like if LaCroix made chocolate milk. It's
LaCroix.
like it was like brewed next to a cocoa bean or something, right? Like that's the chocolate you get in. So at
this time, there is plenty of time for people to learn how to cold brew, and it's actually really easy.
It's not the same.
Cold brew. It's better. It actually doesn't taste like processed garbage. Cold brew.
I also want to acknowledge. I'm sorry I'm cutting you off, but I would like to acknowledge there's been some great low-key Office and Parks and Rec quotes in there. You were saying something, Bradford, and I forget who it was, but somebody wrote in this climate, and
Yes,
I just wanted to say in any climate. What is that? Is that the reference?
Yeah.
When Michael, and then there was just a
when
food
Michael's
stuff.
gonna go start his own paper company, and he tries to get Andy, he goes, in this climate, in any climate.
In any climate. And then there's a food and stuff reference that just flew by. Anyway, I think it's the same person, Wells 306. Wells,
Yeah.
you are an insider. You're on the inside of Worship Tutorials pop culture land. But sorry, Brad, continue. I'm pointing down at you because you're underneath me in the thing. Cold brewing.
Hey, Brian.
Yes. Hello. I don't know if it shows up that way on YouTube though.
It does. It's you two.
Okay.
I'm below you two. Or
But
one could
Fuller
say that
and I are
I'm
reversed.
holding you two up. I'm holding you two up. How about
Fuller and I look at those biceps. I'm jealous, man. Fuller and I are reversed in the YouTube video. So on Zoom we're
when it catches up, it'll look like I'm holding you two up. I want to see it.
Let's do it.
I have a stack. I have a totem pole where it's Brian, me, and then Brad.
Brad, you don't have to hold your arms up the whole time because.
That's true. It'll catch up.
Okay, so continue about cold brew.
Cold brew is actually really easy. You put coffee in water and let it sit for 24 hours. Like you grind coffee and put it in water and let it sit for 24 hours. And it's it doesn't show up right because my video got chopped on my phone, and on YouTube I have lots of headroom. Anyways.
I see.
So that was all I wanted to say, but we kept getting distracted.
Okay. Thank you, Andy Gunderson, for the super chat. My Friday feels more normal. Hey, mine does too a little bit. And thank you, Mark Long, for your super chat. It was specifically earmarked to you, Fuller. But Google's going to take their cut, and then I'm going to take my cut, and then I'll give you a high five, Fuller. How about that?
That's illegal, I think.
I think you're right. Okay. We do appreciate the super chats, though. Thank you very much. That was a joke. Okay. Here's my next question. We need to do a gear, another gear live stream soon, because there've been a ton of gear questions coming in.
Well, see, Fuller uses gear to make stuff happen. Brian and I just like gear. Fuller, if you look at all of Fuller's gear, it's very utilitarian. He's very wise in his purchasing.
He is.
You mean broke?
Well, you have 4 kids.
You do have, yes. Fuller have 4 children. Brad and I both have.
I like audio gear. I like and software. I'm into software.
Fuller's more of a pro audio production guy.
Well, see,
you could go on and on about it.
Fuller is he's way cleaner and better at tracking instruments, so he doesn't need to polish turds.
Fuller, let's talk about this. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
But Fuller's very intentional with what he buys. Brian and I are kind of like, I'm gonna get this, and we could all
this
work
is coming
together.
Yay.
We could all work together.
I think Brad and Brian have paid more in shipping than I have in my entire studio gear.
Especially me, because I do a lot of overnight shipping.
I do not. I will. If I see something for $125 and $10 shipping, I won't get that. I'll get the $130 item and free shipping.
Save $5.
Oh man. Okay. So,
I'm sorry. I said $145 item and free shipping. That's what I meant.
But here's an interesting point. I would like to make content on how to record well, and Fuller can get in on this with me too. Bradford's starting to get in on this because if you didn't just see it, yesterday I uploaded a video of Brad covering Egypt by Bethel Music, Corey Asbury. And Brad did it in the room he's sitting in his house with his iPhone, and you recorded the guitars into Logic with your Universal Audio Apollo, and then sent it to me, and I just put the video together and put some graphics on it, and out it went. And it looked great, man. It was awesome. So I think it's a testament to the fact that these devices right here are really all your church needs to make really high quality audio. Look, I just turned mine on. Look at all those notifications. Now it's not the best for audio. You can do better with audio, but you can do better for video too. But for video, they're great. But anyway, I digress. Brad, you started talking about engagement, and you started talking about body language. You were talking about how you engage with the camera, which is something that churches like New Hope, where Brad and I have been, is a thing that's just, and Fuller was at New Hope with us for 10 years, um, is a thing that was just, we had to do because you're on video all the time because it's multi-site, it gets streamed. Uh, and so we just have to understand how to engage with video. Phil Janney, did I say thank you for your super chat? If not, I thank you. I just saw that. Sorry. But how? So let's talk a little bit. Fuller and Bradford, you guys can talk about this. What can we do as worship leaders? This is something that's been on my heart a lot because um, the church is not together, but that doesn't mean the church is not together, right? The church is not in a building anymore, at least here. But that doesn't mean that the church does not exist and is not meeting together and is, as you know what I mean. So how can we, as worship leaders, how can we foster engagement among our congregations virtually? That's hard. I don't know. I mean, we have like 10 minutes left on this live stream, but what can we do? There you go. Who's first?
I think I mean, for us as worship leaders,
yeah,
it's the same to me, it's the same as if we're in church, because our job is to get people inspired through worship, to get people to engage the word, to engage prayer, to engage the church, to engage all those things through worship. So if we're not giving our best for worship, then we're not doing our job. And it's just different now. And I think the thing that I said earlier, and I would still say this again, and I would want to encourage all worship leaders right now, it's ironic because the last couple months for most of us have been way less work, right? So those of us like have been used to working 30 or 40 weeks of office hours, 30 hours during the week. Now we got a lot more time. And so there's a tendency to get lazy. But the reality is now we're probably going to have to put more work than we ever have into making worship work. So, you know, because I went from showing up to a rehearsal and doing Sunday to spending 30, 40 hours a week editing videos.
I was going to say, you said we have more time, but not really. Our time is just spent doing different things.
Yeah, we have time if we want to be lazy. So what we have to do is we have to go, all right, now what can I do at home now? Yeah. And it's an extra mile, man. And so I think for us, it's going the extra mile. We just have to go, all right, I'm going to make more phone calls. I'm going to make more emails. I'm going to learn how to make videos. I'm going to do this for my church, for my community. They will appreciate it and they will see it. It's funny because over the last couple months for us, we've gotten more engagement because people see the effort. It's different, it's unique, and they're going, thank you. We know this must be a lot of work. And so, you know, it's just an opportunity for us to either be lazy or to really go, I'm going to learn a new skill. I'm going to make this happen. So I think that's our responsibility as worship leaders. We have to make worship happen. Whatever that means, you have to figure out a way for your church to make worship happen every Sunday.
Yeah. And Brad, you talked a lot in the last time you were talking about what your church is doing. You talked a lot about engagement and as far as like your body language, what your face is saying when you lead. And that's really important, especially over video. I think this is a time in the life of the church, at least the Western church, because that's the church that church culture is important to understand, and that different cultures, it means very different things to people as far as like, what is worship? Because I think you'd ask the average person who attends a church in America and they would tell you worship is the songs that you sing on a Sunday morning. And I think this is a time in the life of the Western church, for the church globally to realize that worship is like the songs that we sing in a room together on Sunday morning is like this much of what worship. It's just a word that one of my college professors loved to use, infinitesimal. That's what the word is. Like part of worship, because worship is how
I don't know what that word means.
it means not very big at all.
Like,
It's
Why can't you just say not very big at all?
well, because I wanted to sound educated, Bradford.
I liked it.
I liked it. I'm going to use it now.
Okay.
As an infinitesimal part of my vocabulary.
Yeah. It's just like worship is our response to what God has done for us, and it's how we live our lives. Singing corporately together on Sundays is important, and it's a part of it. And it's something that the Bible tells us we should do. Not on Sundays, but it says we should sing together, we should gather together, and we should sing. And we can do that virtually, or we can do that in a physical space. But I think this is a time for our congregations to realize that worship is far more than just singing on a song together. That we can worship and singing is fine, and we can worship our as families. We can worship together by singing right together. We can, as musicians, I'm assuming most of the people watching this video are guitar players, musicians, keys players. Like, spend some time in personal time playing songs, worshiping. I've done that. I've done that just because I've made content, for the channel, but I've also just done it. So spend some time doing that. But like, I think this is a good time for our congregations to take stock of like, how am I living my entire life as an act of worship? How does that? And man, we have ample opportunity to live that out on social media these days. Good grief. I mean, scrolling through Facebook has just been almost a painful experience for me. And it's like I have to watch how I respond to things or people. And it's a really good opportunity for us to respond in love and to do it in a way that glorifies Jesus. I'm not going to go into why it's been painful. This is not the time nor the place. But there are many things that are happening in the world right now that are they're just hard,
Yeah.
And man, the three of us are we're fortunate. Yeah. Bradford, and Fuller both. You guys are getting paid by your churches, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Lots of people aren't. Lots of people have lost their jobs and their source of income.
Yeah, very blessed.
And there's no hope in sight right now. Nope. And I don't know what that's like. That's really hard. I'm a small business owner, and this is not a good time for small business owners. But Worship Tutorials, and I want to say thank you to you guys watching. Worship Tutorials has been okay. And so humongous thank you. But that's not the place that lots of people are in. It's a hard time right now. And so the way that we respond to that is our act of worship in many ways.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, and I understand that me saying that it's like, I don't know what I'm saying because I'm not living in the reality that many people are of difficulty right now. So, but yeah, that's just some thoughts I have about it. It's really a time for us to teach people about worship and about how it goes beyond just the things that we sing and the time that we spend together on a Sunday morning.
Yeah, we did Waymaker for the first time during the quarantine. We did it last week, 2 weeks ago, something like that. And we were singing through it at rehearsal, and I was just singing it, and it dawned on me like halfway through the song. I was like, we keep saying you are here, moving in our midst. And I thought about that. I was like, we probably don't think much about that on Sundays, like the verbiage we sing. And I took time to kind of tell everybody, I was like, the here that we're singing about is like the altar you've created at your house or wherever you're at listening right now. Like our God is omnipresent. He's not confined to the building we're in on Sunday mornings. And Like we've just been encouraging people to really cry out to God. Maybe this is actually the first time they feel comfortable raising their hands, which you don't need to do that. But I found for me, I got a greater appreciation and I kind of new understanding of worship when I raised my hands in worship for the first time, like when I was like 16, 15, something like that.
Yeah.
Kind of, and I finally came to the realization of like what that meant. And it's just like, an act of surrender and a sign of surrender, I guess. And there's lots of different interpretations for it, but either way, like, I feel like maybe there are some people who this time of worship at home is, for our congregants, that is like, they're probably realizing that worship is different than what they come to realize on Sunday. I'm kind of hoping that like people, it's every church. What church doesn't have a problem with people showing up 10 minutes late to service? Service starts at 11 and nobody's in there. And then by 11:15, the place is packed, or, you grew by 100% or whatever. We took time and I was like, the God that we serve doesn't necessarily, in the grand scheme of things, he doesn't care that we're not meeting together when we sing. Like that's not important to him. The Bible talks about gathering together and it is important, but like in this moment, what we're doing, like we are honoring God by gathering on social media. And somebody actually brought this up, like 20 years ago, we would have been watching weird televangelists.
I know.
And I'm like super proud of the church right now. Like as a whole, like the people who are giving it their all and they're like, no excuses. And like, I know there are churches that aren't able to do some of the things that other churches are able to do. But like, one thing I know is like, there's a guy on staff, like his dad pastors a church and they really can't do this. Like they can't do that. And like, they just don't know how to do it. They don't know how to go about it. There's so many things. So like they send their church, they email the church or post on Facebook every week, our church's service every week.
Oh,
so
cool.
They can we've been able to, and part of our church's vision is reach, teach, release. So we've been able to reach other churches.
Yep.
And bring them into our family, which is cool. And like, I think, some people are kind of worried about professional or like really, really high quality stuff. Yeah. And I think your heart should be to do your best. I don't think we should be using it like, nobody cares. That really bugs me. When people try to say it's the church, nobody cares. Because, somebody can get on stage and sing and it's terrible. And like, everybody's going to get off stage and be like, oh, bless your heart. You just did so good. Praise the Lord. And like, that doesn't mean those people are ingenuine, not genuine, whatever.
Yeah.
About like complimenting the person who's sang, like they're for serious. But that doesn't mean we as the worship leaders can take this as it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But at the same time, with that said, there's nothing that says you can't have excellent worship while playing your acoustic guitar and live streaming from your phone in your home. Like you can't, there's nothing that says that's not cheating. That's not being lazy. If your heart is to do your best and like understanding that like, that's the best you have right now. And like, you don't want to, like, there's so many reasons why that's okay. And you can't though, and this comes back to like what we were talking about. I was a long way of getting there. Teaching our congregation to worship. We can't teach them to worship. We can't take them someplace we haven't been ourselves.
Yeah.
And it's going to be more evident when they are staring at a screen this big and your face is covering the whole thing. And that's all they have to look at.
Yeah.
And like, they're not drifting off looking at the band because there's no band to look at. They're not drifting off looking at the ceiling because maybe they're looking at different stuff in their homes, but
maybe they're going to the microwave to make some nachos.
Hey, that's valid. But like you can't,
Snack
I think
break.
When you're on camera like that, like it will be 100% clear if you are not leading from a place of overflow, if you're just doing it just to do it. And so you have to start there. And for me, listening to the songs is beforehand is one of the ways I worship, because then I know like I know it sounds kind of weird. It's like planned worship, but I'm like, man, when we get to the bridge, that place is that's my favorite part. I get so hyped during the bridge. And like, I look forward to it. I'm playing. I'm like, I can't wait till we sing this bridge. And like, but that's because I have spent time in personal worship and I think it overflows. And I think people can tell that while they're staring at me on the screen because like,
yeah.
So I think that's important, but yeah.
Cool.
Something else cool that I've realized, editing these videos, pulling in the lyrics and animating the lyrics and stuff, words and phrases are starting to pop out to me, and I'm like, man, isn't that so true?
Yeah.
Isn't that so true? And it's really forcing me as a worship leader to really get into the song concept and what the song is saying. And it's so interesting how some of these songs are just so powerful for right now.
Yeah. Hey, thank you to Bob Mitchell. Thank you to Andy Gunderson for your super chats. Bob did not have a question attached to his, so if I missed that, sorry, Bob.
I think I answered some questions he had asked, so maybe that was why.
Andy says, Brad, how do you love your Falcon? I think I've been saving for one for about a year. Hope to have it by September. I think that guitar is crap, Bradford.
Get out of here, Brian.
I'm just kidding.
You're fired.
I haven't played it, but I'd like to.
Well, Brian, I'm actually very interested in you playing it because I followed your setup course and I set it up.
The electric guitar setup guide.
I have neglected to take care of guitars with Bigsby's as well as I should.
It's important.
I learned from one Josh Williams who made that guitar over my filter.
Behind you, yeah.
Yeah. Josh Williams is a great dude. Y'all should check him out. I'm gonna get this thing in a video soon. I needed to put the Falcon in first. But chapstick, I used I had a stick of like Burt's Bees chapstick
to lubricate the.
Mm-hmm.
I on the nut or the
in the nut and right here. I changed each string and I put a little bit right there.
Yeah.
And then I did it on the saddle as well, on each saddle, and that guitar stayed in tune through our video shoot really well. Like anytime I could. Nice. This is a side note, but I use the Red Panda tensor. The tensor is like a tape looping manipulative thing. But basically I would loop the one. Well, I kind of made it so it could be the 1 or the 6. So we did Reckless Love. And so that song is like this major minor, like we did it in F. So it's like, is it in F or is it in D minor? Like it depends on what part of the song you're in, that like the 6 or the 1 kind of seems like the tonic, but either way. I would just hit a 1 like little triad thing. And I would use the tape loop on the tensor, and I had it kind of manipulate. And what it did was I adjusted it so it was like we had a pad the whole time and it was live, so I could manipulate it. And we use like our own pads a lot, but for this set we wanted it to be a little more. We wanted to do something different. So I did that. So basically, though, I said, let's say I would drop this little pad and leave it, and I'd turn it on and off in different parts of the song because I didn't need to play, but we needed something to fill it. And I would tune that guitar, and after using chapstick, it did not go out of tune.
Really?
So that's why I said all that. I'm going to get some clips of it because it was awesome. But I love it. This one's like a 335 made by Gretsch. So it's a thinner body.
It's not the full hollow Falcon.
Yeah, so this is like exactly like center a 335 center block, but with Filtertrons and a Bigsby. So it's like Gretsch's answer to Gibson, and it's perfect. I've always wanted a really, really good 335. That's my style, and I don't know. It's kind of hard for me. I just don't like how they translate.
Different scale length though, which is going to change a lot.
Yeah, that too.
So,
but anyways.
Yeah, so there was a super chat earlier, and I've seen some questions. What about the electric guitar course that we've been talking about? Bradford and I have been talking about this for some time, and it's something that he and I wanted to build together. So I don't know whether he and I are going to try and build that together or separately now.
We sure are.
Or I think we're kind of come to a time soon, Brad, where you and I can resume our Friday meetings. We'll see.
Yes, we'll see.
But like I said, my wife is working. She's an essential employee where she works. She does medical research, and so she actually part of her team is working on COVID-19 treatment. She's doing that kind of research. So it's been important for us to sort of limit our contact to the outside world, just so there's no threat of exposure. Because if she would do that, she wouldn't be able to do her work, and then she could bring it to the lab. That would be bad. Anyway, I think that Brad and I that guitar course is not it's not going to be soon. I'll say that, but it's going to be. It will be. We'll have to figure out how we can put it together. I do think, I'm just thinking out loud here, gentlemen. One, we need to resume these live streams. I think Fridays at 11 are going to work for me for the foreseeable future, hopefully for you guys as well. But Fuller, I would like us to do the Worship Leader Wednesday videos where we picked them back up and then we had to quit. We weren't able to make content together. But we could do it this way. What do you say? I think we could do live Worship Leader Wednesday videos.
That'd be awesome.
That would be cool. They'll be much shorter than this format. We'll try and keep them kind of like the old Worship Leader Wednesday videos.
Yeah.
Except
picking time.
Maybe be able to do Q&A. Well, we need to do Wednesdays.
Yeah, Q&A would be awesome.
Actually, Wednesdays don't work for me, but maybe I could find a time. Maybe Seth could just be involved with them. Wednesday is the day I'm home.
In the morning or in the evening, I'm good.
So. Or you and I could film them. Like we could use Zoom.
That's true. Yeah.
To collab, but we could have our audio and video setups on us separately, and then I could edit them together and post them.
Yeah, but we can't do Q&A if we do that.
We can't do Q&A if we do
it
that.
Out. Yeah, that's awesome.
We could do something like that. And then Brad, I think you and I should do some like gear specific streaming where we talk about things and take some questions. Maybe we can do that sometime soon.
Yes.
Yes.
I like it.
Very
Sounds good to me.
I'll tell you guys, I think I've improved on my guitar skills over this quarantine period.
I'm sure.
I was playing some stuff the other day. Look, I have a Gretsch too, Bradford. Okay. This is my contribution. This is the Gold Falcon. That's not what this is.
Fuller, do you still have your Gretsch? Or did you sell it?
No, I do not. I sold it. With the TV Jones on them.
Yeah.
There was a question, aren't Gretsch's Japanese made? The Pro line, Gretsch calls it Pro line. The Pro line stuff like this Jet and your Falcon are made in Japan.
Where does that say? Mundo.
Yeah.
It says made in Japan.
Yeah, this one says made in Japan. The Electromatic series or anything not Pro line is made in
Taiwan?
Somewhere in the Far East. It could be China. It could be maybe Indonesia. I'm not sure. Maybe Korea. I don't know where they're made. Fuller, do you remember where your Electromatic was made?
No.
Nor do you care.
Yeah. I just hope it wasn't made in China during the coronavirus.
Hey, that thing died on the way over, that virus.
Yeah, for sure.
So, hey, interestingly, speaking of gear, if some of you may remember, we had posted about it that Shiji was going to send us a guitar. Shiji is a brand of guitars made in China, but they're really high end, and so they would compare to like Suhr guitars.
Nice.
And I had been in contact with the guy there at Shiji, and he said, yeah, the factory is shut down, due to coronavirus, because they were going to have it to us by February or March for us to do a review. But hopefully that'll pick back up soon. China, I think, is beginning to really open back up. Yeah. So hopefully that'll be on its way soon. Who knows? We're not going to go into a long gear thing here in this video. In fact, it's pretty much time for the live stream to be over. So any other closing thoughts that you guys have about leading through lockdown? I think we've covered a lot. There have been a lot of questions coming through that are topics that we talked about pretty extensively. Any
somebody,
thoughts?
Brad Miller gave us a super chat, and he mentioned that he didn't think we saw it. So, but Brad, thank you. We are you Brad or Bradley or Bradford? But he said, loving all the content coming out. Thanks. Well, that is appreciated because mainly lately it's been all Brian. So Brian, thanks you.
Yeah, I have been trying, guys. I've been trying to make stuff. I will say that over the years at Worship Tutorials, so in the first 7 years or so, I was the only one making content. As I built relationships with Fuller and Bradford, they have become more and more a part of the content. And over the last 2 months, it's been hard for me. I mean, obviously I still make a lot of stuff by myself. Like I'll do song tutorial videos. But it's been difficult for me to make content without you guys in it. Without you being a part of it or like regularly being in it. And yeah, and in my opinion, it has suffered.
Pour some out for one's homies.
You know, they say better together. I've always heard people say when people talk about building a company, right? Because Worship Tutorials is a small bit, it's an organization, whatever you want to call it. When you try and build something significant, you can always build something far more significant with other people doing it with you than you can by yourself. So yeah, I've missed making content with these guys, and that's why we're really working. I don't know if you probably noticed that Fuller and I did a collab, sort of a song video, not too long ago. What song was that, Fuller?
Graves and Gardens.
Graves into Gardens. Yeah, I mean, it's like the videos, like I finish them and then they're out of my mind.
Yeah,
forever.
You forget doing them. Yeah.
They get put in the WT archive hard drive, which that hard drive is hard drives. And then I don't even remember stuff. So, but yeah, we're getting our workflow down where we're collaborating, the three of us doing content together, but separately. But man, it's been hard to make stuff without you guys. I've missed you. I've missed you being a part of the content. So yeah, we have some cool stuff coming. We've got some cool gear stuff coming. I just saw Orangewood mentioned. I have an Orangewood guitar coming. The acoustic IR stuff is coming. Fuller, you're working on keys content. Fuller and I obviously have the Worship Manual Volume 2.
Well, the Worship Manual is almost done. And that will probably be out hopefully in the next few weeks, which is awesome. And then we've got another secret product that will be coming out in the next month that I think is going to be amazing for worship leaders.
We do. I don't even think Bradford knows about that secret.
No, sweet invite, boys. Wow.
It was secret to me too, Bradford. So, just as of about a week ago.
Whatever.
Brad and I will build our own secret products. Fuller, take that.
No, and then
every week.
I did acoustic IRs totally under the radar, man. It just out of nowhere they came.
You guys release stuff all the time. I don't know about Brad, so there.
The acoustic IRs, man, I am so excited about those. All right.
And this is not blowing it out of the water. I think people may think they're just trying to sell their product. No, we wouldn't sell it if it was legit. The difference, even with my McPherson.
Yeah.
I think my McPherson plugged in sounds amazing.
Yeah.
But using these IRs even makes it sound even more amazingly better. So this is the truth. This is the truth. So they're
Thank
legit.
You, Bradford. The IRs came out of I've never ever been happy with direct acoustic tone ever.
Yeah.
From any pickup system, any guitar ever.
Yeah.
I've tried acoustic IRs to fix that, and it's never worked for me. So I just decided to make my own. And
we're like the Hair Club for Men guys. We're not only we don't just make these products, but we're also users.
That's right.
Every single product that I have made has been out of a desire for me to use it on Sunday. And so I think that's the thing. We just make products that we need.
Yep.
And if we use them and they work, then we like to share them with the world.
That's exactly it. And Brad and I use our patches on the regular.
I use them.
You're going to like the way you sound. I guarantee
You're going to love the way you sound.
Oh, man, that's great. All right,
Hello, my name's Michael. We have a sale on pants today. Just one example.
That's just one example. I hope the people I think Fuller over there, I can just see the eyes glaze over when the Office quotes start rolling in.
I like The Office.
Are you in on it, Fuller? Okay.
Yeah, totally.
Hey,
Benjamin more Parks and Rec, but yeah.
Benjamin Reed says we need a rattle playthrough. Hold on, Benjamin. I've got one. I've got something coming. Now, I don't know if you're talking about electric guitar.
Dude, he is absolutely talking about electric guitar. Anybody want to hear that song on acoustic?
I'm talking acoustic. Actually, no, it's...
Hello, my friend, we meet again. Been a while.
Saturday was silent. You gotta use drop D for this song. It makes a big difference. Surely it was through. Since when as impossible. Yes. makes a big difference. Also, using an old guitar helps.
Well, actually, the guys at Elevation, they play, one of them tunes down a half step so he can play in E flat. He'll play E chords, and that's where you get that lower note.
Yeah.
And then the other guy plays capo 1 and plays in the key of D to give it some.
Yeah, I know they do theirs in yeah, you're right.
E flat.
There's an E flat.
E flat.
I don't think they do that drop D thing. But it does sound cool on that song.
You can also use a 5-string capo, a cut capo, play in D with the capo on 1, and then tune the top string down to an E flat.
Ooh, Fuller would drop in the knowledge.
Yeah, that's a Fuller Peggy trick.
There you
go. I need to find it because I don't use it as much as I should, but I have a G7 cut capo, which is perfect for that.
Yep.
Yeah. That's the key that the song is actually in. It's an E flat. But you can still drop D to get that.
Yeah. Yes.
It's cool. And then the chorus goes. Anyway, yeah, we'll get that. Brad is going to do the, Bradford, you are going to do the rattle electric guitar stuff, right?
Yes, it's got so much. It's got trim too.
You going to pull out the slide for it?
I may.
Is there a slide on that, or am I thinking of a different song?
Well, there is some for Graves in the Gardens, but
Graves in the Gardens has all the slide. That's right. Oh, look at that, folks.
Yeah, that's what we need.
That's what you need. The resonator.
This is what you need right here. With this little thing.
There you go. That's the Now we're talking blues. I've found that Zoom is 100% terrible when it comes to replicating music. Like playing guitar, it sounds gross.
Nice.
So, yeah, you got to figure out a different solution for that. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us here in the live chat. Now, I often talk about how the endings of these live videos are really not graceful at all. And I've never ended a live video on Zoom before, so I don't even know what's coming.
No idea.
So I'm going to go here on the Zoom thing. I
Two
hear
things.
my child. Huh?
Two things.
Okay.
There's a pod go for me showing up soon. So yes, more pod go patches.
Yes.
And Tim Wetzel, send me a message, my friend.
Sure. As if.
Party time.
All right.
We're not worthy. We're not worthy.
Oh, I love it, Fuller. Anytime you're in these live videos, it's just going to be a rotating wall of virtual backgrounds.
All right. All right.
All right. Somebody's saying on Zoom to click the original sound button. I see that. Where can I hit that? Okay, I'm going to play something. This is going to be a quick test. You guys ready? I'm going to play a few chords. Then I'm going to turn original sound on. Jim is saying Skype sounds better. I do think probably Skype is better quality. I don't know if that has the same functionality to stream, but we'll try. Here we go. Ready? This is the first thing. Okay, here we go. I'm going to turn original sound on. Tell me if this sounds better.
Yeah, it does.
Better?
It's got more high mids in it.
Okay. So less muffled.
Yeah.
So turn original sound on. Turn on original sound. You guys have that option? Is that option available to you?
No. No, mine isn't.
Brad and I get that quote wrong all the time.
We do.
Maybe that's for the whole Skype. Maybe that's for the whole Zoom session that I turned it on for all of us.
It could be.
Oh, wow. The comments are saying, oh, yes, way better. Yes, better. Medes Church. Yeah, I know there are other solutions that let you use, like, different cameras and audio interfaces and things. We might do that. I just thought,
Don't get Brian started. Don't get
just the three of us to collab on a live video.
Yeah.
This was the easiest solution. All right. But that's about it for today. Thank you guys again for hanging out.
Thank you
for
all.
your super chats. We really appreciate that. We're going to end this thing. I'm going on YouTube, stop live stream, see if it works.